Hello! In this short video, I want to talk about a new and easier way that we can symbolize neither nor using the or symbol instead of the and. So we have the sentence, neither Bob nor Jane own dogs, and we'll symbolize Bob owns dogs with P and Jane owns dogs with Q. The old way we know to symbolize this, we think about what this means and we think, well, does Bob own a dog? No. Or dogs, does Jane? No. And we'd say, then we'd say that's a conjunction of it's not the case that Bob owns dogs with it's not the case that Jane owns dogs. And we have not P and not Q. But now, and that's a fine symbolization. It works just great. But there's one that's a little bit easier, I think, to enter into the program and is maybe a little more intuitive than this. So we have neither Bob nor Jane's own dogs. Bob nor Jane own dogs. So we can say that this is the negation of either Bob or Jane own dogs. Right. So what we're doing is there's a neither nor, and we take the n off the neither, and we take the n off the nor, and make them into a not. And then it's a negation of either Bob or Jane own dogs. And so we can symbolize then that not turns into our negation sign. And now we have either Bob or Jane own dogs, and that or is going to turn into a V. And then we turn Bob owns dogs into P, and Jane owns dogs into Q. And we have not P or Q. And I think this is simpler for two reasons. One is that there are just fewer symbols. And the other is that we don't have to carry down the negation or do manipulations in the tree. We just pull the not off of the either or and symbolize it, and then we're left with either or, and that just runs down the tree. So let's see what that looks like in the program, if we were going to do that in the program. So we have they are neither a dog nor a cat. Perhaps we're talking about a lizard. So we have this neither, and we have the nor. So what we'll say is this is a negation of, and then we're going to delete those ends. Either, get rid of that, and or. And now we have so negation of, and then, oh, I got rid of the wrong thing. I got rid of the R, not the N. They are either a dog or a cat. And now the negation's done with. We don't have to think about it anymore. We've taken care of it. And this is just a disjunction of they, oops, that's what I meant to copy. They are either a dog or a cat, so we'll have they are a dog on the left, and we'll put they are a cat on the right. They are a dog, that's P. They are a cat, that's Q. And so now we have this symbolization of they are neither a dog nor a cat. And I think that this one's easier because it's easier to keep track of the negation. In particular, the first thing you do is deal with the negation, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. Whereas if we would do this as a conjunction, first we put in a conjunction, and then we'd have to add in they are not a dog, and then they are not a cat, and putting in the nots. And I think that's harder to remember to do and can be a little bit more difficult to keep track of. So this works. And these two are equivalent. In fact, we can prove that they're equivalent, and we're going to prove that they're equivalent in our next, not for this homework, but for the next homework. We're going to prove that the biconditional not P and not Q, if and only if, not P or Q, we're going to prove that that's a theorem, and we've actually already done, I believe, in a truth table, that biconditional and seen that it's a tautology. So either of those answers are fine. They always have the same truth value. The program will always accept both of them. Sometimes it will say it will prefer the negation answer. Sometimes it will prefer the and answer. And if you give the other one, then it will say correct equivalent. But either are fine. Either will get full points. I just think that this is an easier, the negation one with the disjunction. Now that we have the disjunction, I think this is an easier symbolization. So up to you. But we do want to see that they're equivalent, and we'll be talking about that soon.